listening to The Coolering, a podcast made for manufacturing marketers. Here are Carmen Perry and Jeff White.
Welcome to The Coolering, a podcast for manufacturing marketers, brought to you by Cooler Partners. My name is Jeff White, and joining me today is Carmen Perry. Carmen, how you doing, mate?
I am delighted to be here.
Oh, fantastic.
Excited for today's conversation. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, and I think there's something really interesting that we're going to be talking about here, and it's one of those evolutions of bringing a bit of almost a SaaS model of thinking to B2B manufacturing, and I don't think we've heard of this before and really kind of seen how this could come to life.
Yeah, it's funny. I hadn't really thought about this as a SaaS kind of approach.
I think they tend to do the. I mean, we're kind of burying the lead here, but I think they sort of have adopted more of this kind of approach in a similar way to what our guest is doing, and I'm interested to hear how he's kind of spinning it up. So, joining us today is Wayne Thompson. Wayne is the director of marketing and partnerships at Pineberry Manufacturing. Welcome to the Cooler Ring, Wayne.
Hey guys, yeah, thank you for having me. Very happy to be here.
Wayne, it's it's suspicious, right? When we're bringing you on to talk about the second part of your title, to kind of drill into the partnership side. But before we do that, I'd love to introduce our listeners a bit more formally to Pineberry and to yourself. So, tell us a bit about Pineberry Manufacturing and how you ended up there.
Very interesting story. But yeah, no, for Pineberry, it's Pineberry Manufacturing is basically a packaging automation manufacturer. So we've been actually celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. And we basically build order management or order fulfillment systems and printing and labeling solutions for the packaging industry, if you will. So we work with all kinds of different businesses. Could be e-commerce merchants selling products online that needs a packaging automation solution, or we work with in the food industry. We work with a lot of companies that are doing a lot of those 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 trays that you get from the grocery store, and they need labeling done. We do all that, and we do a lot of a variety of different things for pharmaceutical and cannabis as well. And how I ended up here, my background is it's kind of interesting because I really actually come from the software tech industry. I have a background in e-commerce and data integration. So I've done a lot of work around Shopify and all these e-commerce platforms. But then I also know the back ends around ERP systems. And that's kind of where the order management and the shipping systems that Pineberry does actually work on comes into play. So I'm sort of doing the whole gamut in terms of the industry, covering the front end and the back end, as well as the actual hardware that goes into everything. So, but yeah, lately I've got a north of 20-year history in sales, marketing, and partnerships.
What a catch for Pineberry to get somebody working on the inside that has that much knowledge of how the product actually comes to life. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's helpful.
So kind of given a bit of the intro that I threw out at the beginning of the show, do you feel like your background in e-commerce and in software enabled you to think a little bit differently about how you might bring the notion of partnerships to a packaging manufacturer?
Yeah, so I started kind of really thinking about how this would work. I didn't really dive into the sort of the software end of the partnerships. I've really been focusing on expanding our manufacturing and our OEM relationships, because a lot of the systems that we do put together do involve a lot of different third-party solutions as well. So really trying to enhance those relationships and get a lot more of the marketing side of our relationship really going. And so it kind of involves in to the point about the second half of my title and how the marketing and the partnership aspects kind of fall into play. I'm doing both sides effectively, at least in my mind, where I'm working with their marketing team and our partners, really trying to generate interest from both parties. And then also like tap into the sales team, build the relationships between our team and their team as well, and see what more like joint opportunities that we can come up with. So there's a lot of like, yeah, we've got a relationship and we've got like a rep that might work with us, but then like there's more out there and they have, larger sales organization than we may have. So, we try to tap into that community through partnerships.
You find, I mean, I can imagine. I mean, Pineberry is not a massive company. You don't have thousands of staff. So, as a result, I think that part of this partnership strategy is really just a way of accessing a level of scale and reach that may be um, a challenge otherwise. But
Mhm.
do you find as well that even like maybe more established players, maybe they just don't lean into partnerships as much? Like sometimes I wonder if it's just untapped opportunity, like not just because you're smaller and more nimble maybe and want to leverage that, but maybe just because other folks just aren't paying the same amount of attention to the partnership and to curating that relationship as you might be.
Yeah, actually, what I did find, and we'll get to the software aspect of it later, but yeah, what I did find through some of our current partnerships, when I started reaching out to, yeah, much larger organizations, they've been thinking about it. They were like, you know what, like I actually one company I talked to in particular, their VP of marketing, had come from a similar background as myself. And they were like, you know what? We've been trying to figure out how we're going to do this. What do we do to like really cultivate and enhance our relationships with our OEM partners in this case? And it was kind of funny, like that I had reached out to them and said, this is what we're doing, and let's try to figure out a way to work more closely together. So what I did was it always takes like someone to move the egg a little bit, right? So I, I started I put a video together for like a marketing video that we were doing. And the way I did it was I included all of the components like from our OEM partners in the video. And then I actually mentioned them like throughout the video as well, like right in the bottom, showing shots of their product as part of our overall solution. And I shared it on social, made sure that their team knew about it. What they ended up doing was they shared it within their own community, and all their sales reps saw this and just started moving it around. So it was kind of neat because some of them probably didn't really know who we were, and now we're demoing their product in our videos. And of course, they're going to use that, for their conversations with their customers, right? So it started from something small as an idea, but like it can gain traction.
I mean, that's really interesting, and it's a bit of a opening up the potential for a two-way conversation, a two-way providing of marketing assets and sales horsepower. Are they, the partners that you've included in the video content, are they also kind of providing things for you to use as well in your marketing?
Uh, it's coming. So it's that's part of the relationship aspect of all this. It's a little bit of give and take sometimes, but no, it actually no, that's not entirely accurate. They did actually. We did do in March. We did two back-to-back events, trade shows, and one of them, because of all the effort that I had put in, I guess, to the previous video content that I created, they did some posts as well, mentioning all of their OEM partners, and we were included, but they shared it on their social channels and, got the name out there. But if I hadn't done what I had done, there's a chance that we may have not been mentioned.
Hmm.
So they got a lot of OEMs, right? But like they put us in their like top 10. So that's pretty darn good, I would say.
It's a real testament to just leaning into that partnership. I think there's some companies that would maybe look at an OEM ecosystem, and if they're a smaller player, they might think, oh well, it'd be hard for me to get the attention or to be mentioned alongside some of these other firms. And so much of it is just about putting yourself out there and expressing interest from the get-go and actually developing these partnerships. Yes, I'm curious. Wait, how formalized are they getting? Are we getting to a point of more formal spiffing arrangements of channel partners, shared marketing agreements? I guess, where are we at in the evolution of this, and maybe where have you been in your previous jobs that may be pointing to where you're looking to take this?
Yeah, like previously, before I was before I joined Pineberry, I was actually part of a marketplace, like an e-commerce marketplace, where I would onboard vendors, like vendor partners or ISVs, basically. I would say software companies that would have to integrate into the platform. Part of the part of the partnership agreement was rev share, like a big rev share component. So that would like they would list their product available for sale in a platform that resellers can sell to their end clients using our platform itself. So part of the arrangement was to have a rev share agreement in place as part of the partnership with them. But what we also did was provide them enablement for the platform, so they would have the opportunity to speak with our sales team and introduce their product directly to us, like directly to the sales team. And then there was a little bit more of like onboarding and hand holding and getting like for in terms of overall success for what I'm doing with Pineberry right now is we're developing a channel partnership arrangement with companies that want to work with us, possibly want to sell some of our solutions with theirs, or vice versa. We already do it today, but it was never really like formalized. So we're working on that. But what I've been doing is trying to figure out like what level of referral fee that we want to do. But in your point, like a lot of it's going to be around like joint marketing efforts, things we can do collaborative together, not really put that like monetary component in play, if you will, but like really see what we can do from a thought leadership point together, and then like come up with some pretty good content. So, I mean, from what I've seen so far, is a lot of the companies are starving, like other companies are starving for new content to put out there. So with me, I've been able to like say, okay, I'll jointly write something with you. Let's get something out there. And that's a good way to start the relationship off and see what kind of leads we can generate together and, kind of go in it sort of at a cooperative level. But yeah, what I've been doing outside of like the vendor side of the partner relationships and the fact that Pineberry does an awful lot of like e-commerce shipping labeling systems. I've been like, and the fact is we do have customers that are on Shopify. They need labeling solutions, like labeling software. We don't provide that. So part of the philosophy of going out for a partnership is to find that missing component and find that missing vendor where we're talking to a client and they're telling us, hey, we need labeling. Like, who do you recommend? Like it'd be nice to have for my sales team to say, yeah, I've got this partner. Here they are. We do a warm introduction together. That lead stays in house. That lead stays with us. It goes to a partner that we can trust. They're going to work with us, and then hopefully, they may have a customer on their side that is a fit for us, and then we can start that way. So I'm in like approaching software vendors a little different and outside the box of the normal manufacturing partnerships, but to bring them in house and say, look, we've got an end-to-end solution that covers all your automation, but then also can handle all the software side as well.
I really like that, and the level of reciprocity that's baked into this is just, it's fantastic. How have you, or how are you planning to bring this to life, like online? Are you doing anything with a specific partner section on the Pineberry website, or what are you thinking there?
Yeah, so actually in February, I launched a partner page on our website. Um, it does list a few partners that we do have in place. Some of them are our OEM partners. Some of them are packaging partners because, like on the other side, we handle a lot of packaging, but we don't sell it. And our customers typically they'll come to us with packaging samples. They're getting it from somewhere, right? So that's another area where I'm looking at partnering a little bit more because it's an advantage. For a good example is we do a lot of like automation machines for cannabis as well. And I like breaking more into it right now. And I've already had like cannabis packaging suppliers come and see us, come and visit with us, talk to us and what we're doing. And they've got example video of what we've done with specific packages that typically can be sourced from them. And they can now use that video when they're talking to customers and say, oh, yeah, we've got, Mr. Customer, you got 6,000 pouches, for cannabis. Well, how are you going to handle that? We've got a automation vendor that will do all that labeling and printing and everything for you. And you don't have to pay a bunch of people to package it. So, before I approached some of these companies, they never heard of us and they never thought of the idea. Like most of the time, they would be like, their sales team would be like, "Oh, we don't know. You'll have to figure it out yourself." Right? So now they go, "Well, here is Pineberry Manufacturing. They're in Oakville. This is what they do."
That also opens up so many more opportunities to be found, and it gives you the right to talk about those adjacent solutions that integrate with you without sounding like you're just kind of making it up, because you have the legitimacy of the partners, you have an area of the website where you can talk about the solutions that come with the integrations, and now you can be found, for cannabis packaging when maybe it would have seemed a little, I don't know, not untrue, but less fulsome a solution on the. I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the way I think about it is going back to my more enterprise sales days, where I was selling SAP, and I would go into like warehouses, like companies. For example, I sold SAP to a packaging vendor maybe more than 10 years ago that did all the Uncle Ben's packaging. And their warehouse had, requirements for bidding solutions. And they had trucking as well, trucking systems or dispatching. They had a lot of things. So I had to leverage partners as a salesperson to come up with a solution that met the needs of all the customer, basically. So the way I approach a lot of my partner arrangements is to like remove a lot of the I don't know, extra steps involved in the sales process when someone leaving from our team or their team is talking to a customer and they need a solution. I need like more than 80% of that area covered to be successful.
That makes sense to me. One of the things I'm kind of curious about as I kind of imagine those conversations I've been in where people are maybe seeming less enthusiastic about a partnership. I'm trying to think about what reasons were driving that. I think some of it is that they feel like when they bring partners to the table to help deliver a more fulsome solution, they're both kind of in some cases losing control of the overall solution delivery or having to at least share control. And then there's also can be sometimes concerned about, well, if I'm recommending this partner, if they screw up, like it basically almost like it comes with implied warranty because it came with a recommendation. How do you navigate the downside potential of that? Or do you just think it's overstated?
No, I think it's important to watch out for. What the way I used to handle it was be sort of like the project lead, I guess, if you will, between both parties. Like for example, I had one partner where like I would host the calls and co-host with another, like someone on their team, and then our sales teams. It's all actually really, it's all about alignment and making sure that the the introductions are done and everybody's sort of in the know in these conversations on like who's doing what. So it's, we used to have more of like a statement of work or a project outline and say who is responsible for X, Y, and Z, and ensure it's all laid out, right? So, and plus you want to work with partners that are not going to like potentially introduce someone else into the picture. They're going to want to like ensure that we're in a line and working together, basically.
Yeah, it's hard to know how else to approach it other than simply be careful. I do think that there's a level of transparency that can often be important in these situations, particularly where there's a rev share component or what have you. I think it's oftentimes helpful if that rev share is made kind of transparent and public to the end customer as well. Sometimes I found there can be conflicts emerge in partnerships when it's not clear how people are getting paid.
I think when it comes to end customers, never really come across that part of the like that element of like how we working together in terms of who's getting paid what. Their main concerns have always been like maybe around like integration. Is it going to work together? How are you guys going to do this? So having a proper outline, like having the I guess the luxury of like positioning a complete end-to-end solution, including all the third parties, does have an advantage because then you can outline a project where our deliverables are going to be like from like we're going to do like A to whatever, A to E, and then our partners are going to do this, but they're essentially part of us, part of our deliverables, part of our time, and in some cases our team was trained on actually delivering the third party solution product, right? So I guess it would kind of depend on that, but like, yeah, like I don't recall really having that, like how you guys, who's getting spiffed and all that kind of stuff. Customers don't really care. They're more interested in the end result and getting it done, and like maybe who's gonna hang up the project a little bit. Most of the time, I would say it's the customer that slows things down for everybody else. But I mean, it really kind of can depend. So,
And customers love hearing that, don't they?
I love something that you said in there too, though, because you said that your team also was learning how those kind of third party solutions worked. So I have to think that it's also these partnership networks also help to grow capacity within your own organization because all of a sudden people understand, oh, here's how people are going to use our machine. Here are the things that are going to plug into that. Here are the other parts of that process that they need to be aware of that maybe they weren't before, having these closer relationships with integration partners. That's a really cool little insight.
yeah, 100%.
Well, Wayne, we're kind of coming towards the end of our time here. I'm really wondering what's next for the partnership network as you continue to grow.
I think what I'm going to be doing is just really focusing on growing what we're started already today, really like grow into it. So, really finding, for example, like a shipping software vendor that wants to be a part of our roadmap in terms of like building an ecosystem around e-commerce, really being more involved in that community. There's lots of them out there. A lot of them do the same thing. We could be a big differentiator for them. So I want to focus on that, build that out, and then focus on some of the other areas that we've got going, like cannabis automation systems that we're doing, and just really build that out strongly.
I've been like resisting the urge to give the punny joke, the vote busting into the cannabis market. But anyway, that maybe shows a lot of insider cannabis knowledge that we don't always disclose on the show. But hey, it's been a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with our listeners today. It's been great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, it's a pleasure being here. Love to do it again. No problem at all. Great being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Cooler Ring with Carmen Perry and Jeff White. Don't miss a single manufacturing marketing insight. Subscribe now at KulaPartners.com/The Cooler Ring. That's KULAPartners.com/The Cooler Ring.